So what's up you guys, it's Johnny here again, and in this video I'm going to tell you about what you should do if you are in a situation where you find yourself unhappy with your financial status, or if you are straight up poor. So what does it mean to be poor? Well, that sort of depends on who you're asking. But in this video, I'm only going to talk about poor in the way that you do not have the money that you want, or that you feel that you have a lack of money. So I'm not talking about like having a poor character or anything like that. I'm solely going to focus on the money part in this video. So why wouldn't you want to be poor? Because I'm perfectly sure that you sometime in your life heard the expression like, money doesn't solve any problems, or money won't make you happy. And to some extent that is true, and I will explain later why, but for most of the time when you've heard this statement, it's because the person that said it is trying to justify their own financial situation, and they don't want to apply any effort in taking themselves out of that situation. So they're trying to justify for themselves their situation. Ergo, it's a lot of bullshit. So I'm going to tell you why you don't want to be poor in this video. So with that being said, I just want to say that I grew up in a family that didn't have a lot of money. I wouldn't say that we were necessarily like the poorest kid on the block, but we definitely were in a situation where we didn't have a lot of money. So, and this was mainly caused by two factors for my parents' part. Well, the first thing was that they got me and my older brother at a fairly young age, which restricted them in making money and getting education. And the second factor was when I was growing up in the 90s in Sweden. Sweden was hit by a huge financial crisis in terms of a real estate crash. And this real estate crash made my parents being forced to sell their home at a pretty huge loss actually. So that made us move out of that city into a poorer neighborhood. So with that background in mind, I've been both poor and I've been rich. And if someone would ask me if I would choose between being poor and rich, I would choose to be rich any day of the month, guys. So why do you want to be rich, or why don't you want to be poor? Well, actually there's quite extensive research showing that as you progress making money, after a certain stage, your happiness will actually not increase. And I think that maybe from this kind of research, the saying that money won't buy you happiness derives from. But according to me, and at least a lot of other guys that I know that earn a lot of money, it's not the money per se that will make you happy, it's what the money can give you. So for example, if I would like just to sit around all day just watching TV, playing video games or whatever, I could do that if I want to. Or I could just lay on a beach all day long, or do whatever I want, because I have the money to sustain my lifestyle for the rest of my life. So that kind of freedom is the thing that I personally like with having a lot of money. So it's not like money per se, because I don't spend that much money. It's more of what that money can do for me. So let's continue with the practical part of this video, and that is, what should you do if you are poor? The number one thing that you have to do is to identify why are you poor. For example, if you don't have a job, well, that's a start. Get a job and try and identify what are the habits that you are doing that are making you poor. And for example, you can start working with, for example, if you have a job, you can start looking into how much do I earn? Is this up to date with other people in the same field, and can I get maybe a salary increase and stuff like that. So that is the number one thing you have to do. You have to identify why are you poor. And this leads us to the second thing that you have to do, is start tracking your expenses. This is by far one of the most important things you want to do if you do not want to stay poor. You have to start tracking what you are putting your money, what are you spending your money at, and how are you managing your money? And there's loads of different ways. One thing that I do is that I have an app on my smartphone that I manually track everything that I buy, and I mean everything. I mean, if I buy a gum, I would put in that app, so I can track anything. So I highly recommend that you download an app to your smartphone and start tracking your expenses through that. One of the biggest reasons for why you have to track your expenses is that you are spending way more money than you think you are spending. I mean, even now, while I'm tracking my expenses, I'm getting surprised as how much money I actually spend, like from a day-to-day basis. So if you're not tracking it, I can guarantee you that you are spending way more money than you think you're doing. So number 3, guys, is sort of intertwined with the second one, and that is you have to make up a budget. So the easiest way you do this is you just track the income that you have, all the income sources if you have more than one, and then you just put in the expenses that you already track, and you try to minimize that as much as possible. Also, the key thing with this is that you should start saving a lot of money. And I'm not talking about the regular way of saving, that when people think that they are going to save money, they sort of fix their mind to a set number that they are going to save. For example, they say to themselves, I'm going to save $100 every month. And that is not good. You should always think in percentage when you save. And the biggest reason for this is 2 things. And the first one is that as your paycheck increases throughout the years, it doesn't matter if you are earning $100,000 or $1,000 every month, because your percentage will always increase as well. So that's the first reason why you should think in percentage. And the second reason why you should think in percentage when calculating your savings rate, and this, guys, I'm going to tell you, this blew me away the first time I heard this, is that when you are dealing with percentages, you can easily calculate how long time it will take you to reach financial independence. So, for example, I'm going to show you a graph here. And as you can see on the graph, if you would save 60% of your salary, it would take you about 12 years to reach financial independence. And there are some factors to this, such as investing and inflation and etc. And I will go over all of this in a different video, more in depth, so you can realize how this works. But just for now, think of that percentage-wise, if you save 60%, it would take you about 12 years to reach financial independence. So number 4, that is to set up a side hustle. And that is really important as well, because you are going to try and diversify your income and get a lot of different income sources when you're trying to reach your financial freedom. And that could be like anything. Let's say you have a daytime job, maybe you can get like a work on the weekends or something like that. But what I prefer is to make money online, and the reason for that is that the web never sleeps. So that means that you can make money 24/7. You don't have to sell your time to get money, because when you have invested in some business or something online, that will keep making you money while you sleep, while you eat, while you've taken a piss or whatever. And there's like a million ways to make money online. Like, for one example, if you are good with the design or anything, you can sell assets online. Or if you have some programming skills, you can start making small programs and try to sell them, or scripts or something. You can write a book or whatever. I will go into depth in this in later videos, as well as how you can make money online. The number 5 thing that you should do if you are poor at this moment is fairly easy, and that is you should start getting knowledge about finance and investing. So start picking up books. You could go to the library or whatever and start reading up on how to invest money and how to get a good investment. And you don't have to read books. If you don't like books, there's like a ton of resources online, such as on YouTube or other courses and stuff that you can take for a small amount of money that will teach you how you can manage your money. So that was basically the 5 things that I think you should do if you are poor today. So start by doing that and you will see results quite quickly. So see you guys in the next video.